Good afternoon or day or morning to everybody. You should be watching this when you're finished with your quiz. Hopefully you did well and you're feeling confident. Now, before we get into the actual work of finding the original, we need to talk about percents a little bit. So let's look at this first question. It says, if you had a coupon for 80% off, what percent did you actually pay? Well, think about it. If the full price of the jacket is 100%, so like, let's say we're buying a jacket, so that's full price. If it's 20% off, then that means we're cutting off this little 20%. So if the whole purple bar is 100%, what's left after we take that 20%? Well, 100 minus 20 is 80%. So that means if it was 20% off, we paid 80%. So saying you took 20% off is the same as saying you paid 80% of the price. If you had 35% off, well, that means how much did you pay? So we'll do percent off, and then we'll do percent paid. 35% off. Well, if the total bill is 100, you would do 100 minus 35 to calculate your percent paid. Well, you paid 65% paid. If you had, 27% off, what percent did you pay? 100 minus 27. 73% paid. You're probably wondering, like, why are you talking to me about this, Miss Carbone? And it's because it's important in the lesson you're about to see. So in order to figure out what percent you pay, when you have a decrease, you're going to do 100 minus your initial percent, and that'll give you your percent paid. Now on the flip side, let's talk about an increase situation. If you paid the whole bill for dinner plus an 8% tax, which is an increase, what is the total percent you paid? So think about it this way. If you paid the whole bill, that would be you're paying 100% of the money owed, right? The tax is an additional percentage. It's an add-on. So you're paying an additional 8%. So that means now you're paying this entire percentage of your 100 plus your 8 for 108% paid total. If you said it was just 8% paid, well, then that means you only paid the tax. You didn't pay the entire bill. So for increases, we're going to take our 100% and add our increase percentage amount. So let's say you have, percent in tax, and then we'll put percent paid. Let's say you have 8% tax. To calculate your percent paid, you would do 100 plus 8% for 108% paid. So if you're going out to dinner, that would be you paying for your dinner and paying the tax. If you had 2.5% tax, that would be 100 plus 2.5, which would be 102.5% paid. These are all percent paids. This is a different way of thinking about percentages. We've always looked at them as off or increases, decreases. Now it's taking your thought and shifting it a little bit. Now again, it's going to be kind of weird until I put it into context. So let's scroll on up so I can put it into context for you. So how do we find the original? That is, how do we find the original amount, the original bill charge, the original price of a jacket, the original anything? Let's read our first question. It says, find the original price of a jacket that was discounted 15% and now sells for $72.25, $72.25. So first and foremost, we need to identify what we have. This discount is 15% off. This $72.25 is our discount amount. So this is our sales price, I should say. That's actually better for us. Sales price or amount paid. So when we go to set up our proportion, we know it's usually part over whole equals percent over 100. When it comes to find the original questions, it's important to know that the part is the amount paid. Now we know that our labels have to match. So if the part is the amount paid, then that means the percent had better be the percent paid. That's why we were talking about that earlier. So what's our amount of money that we paid here? Well, we paid $72.25. So that's our part, $72.25 over, do we know our whole? And in this case, your whole is going to be your original, as it has always been. And the answer is no, we don't know it. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, we got to put 15 over 100 here. But would that match? If this is the amount paid, isn't this the percent off? Shouldn't that be the percent paid? So if it's 15% off, what percent did we pay? Well, in order to figure that out, you say, all right, 100% of the price minus the 15% discount leaves us with 85% paid. So the percent that belongs here is actually 85. Now you guys know how to cross multiply, so go ahead and do it. Pause the video. When you're done, unpause. Okay, so when you cross multiply, you should have gotten x equals 85. Well, what does that 85 represent? As we said earlier, the whole is our original, so the 85 is the original price of the jacket. Original price of jacket. So now that we know the original price, we can write ourselves a nice target statement like the original price of the jacket was $85. The original price of the jacket was $85 before 15% off. Now there's some important things to point out to you guys that we talked about that you're going to have to need and know later. And is that your labels on your proportion need to match. Remember, it's amount paid to percent paid. And then your whole is always your original. So amount paid to percent paid. That's a big thing to remember for finding the original. And don't you worry, you're going to get lots and lots of practice. All right, number 2. Jasmine paid, so this is the amount paid. She paid $58.85 for tickets to a concert. How much was the ticket before a 7% tax? Now, tax is an increase. So if we're talking about our amount paid, what percent do we need? Hopefully you said we need our percent paid. Since tax is an increase, that means you're paying 100%, that's ugly, 100% of the ticket plus our 7% in tax to give us a grand total amount of 107% paid. Now we can fill into our proportion. Our part is our amount paid which was $58.85. We're looking for our whole or our original. And because this is the amount paid, we need to have the percent paid on the top on the right. So what would that percent paid be? Well, you nailed it. It's 107%. You guys know to cross multiply from here, so pause the video, and when you're done, unpause to check your work. All right, hopefully you got x equals 55. And what does that represent? Well, that represents the original cost of the ticket. So a target statement would be the original cost of the tickets was $55. And we got a nice little cloudy bubble around our answer here and around our answer here. Again, we know and understand that this is going to be weird at first, but you will get plenty of practice and you'll feel more confident in it over time. But let's wrap it up. What have we learned? What are some general tips we need in order to accomplish this mission? Well, we talked about our first most important thing is that our labels must match. And what we mean by that is when we have part over whole equals percent over 100, that we have the amount paid, and across from it is the percent paid. And we know that the whole is the original dollars. So that's one very important thing. Another important thing is to check your answer. You can check your answer for reasonableness. You can legitimately check your answer, which I'll show you in just a second. You can check your answer. You need to check your amount paid, percent paid, identify your pieces. And write your target statement. Now, in order to check your work, you can work backwards. You can say, okay, if I think the original price of the ticket was $55, well, you can find out what the tax is and add it, like the percent problems we've been doing. So that's nothing new. For increase problems, please remember you need to take 100%, that's ugly, 100%, and add the percent you have increased by, and that will equal your total percent paid. For the decrease problems, you're going to take 100% and subtract the percent you have decreased by. This would be like the percent off. And that will give you your total percent paid. All right, let's put this more to practice so that you guys can really get a handle on it. All right, practice time. Number 1 says Tony bought a hat for $18. If this was 25% off the regular price, how much does the hat normally sell for? So a couple of important things. We know that we bought the hat for this. So this is the dollars paid. We know that it was 25% off. So we know that this is a decrease. And it wants to know how much does it normally sell for. So what's the original price? Original price is what? Okay, so we're going to set up a proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. In this case, we know it needs to be dollars paid and percent paid. How many dollars did we pay? Well, we paid $18. We don't know how much it was originally. And what is the percent we paid? Well, if it's 25% off, that means we take 100% of the bill. We subtract our 25%, and that gives us 75%. and that's our paid percent. That goes up top over 100. You guys know how to cross multiply. I do not have to tell you that. So when you cross multiply, you should get X equaling $24. And that is the original price of the hat. So your target statement could say something like, the hat normally sells for $24. Bada bing, bada boom. Answer. Now, if you're feeling confident in this, start pausing the video and trying the problems ahead of time. If you're not confident, stay here, and you can follow that at any point. You can always pause the video and jump ahead. Number 2, after a 15% discount, Blake paid $20.40 for a book. What was the original price of the book? So this is a decrease because it's a discount. And we know that if we took 15% off, that means we did 100 minus 15% to give us our 85% paid. And then we have our amount paid. And we're good to go for setting up our proportion. So we have the amount paid, which is $20.40, over our original, which we don't know, equals our percent paid, which is 85% over 100. Now you guys can go ahead and cross multiply and find your answer. Funny story, X is also 24 for this problem, but it represents obviously not the hat. For here, it represents the original price of the book. So your target would say something like the original price of the book. Oh, sorry guys. Of the book was $24. And that's before the discount. They're saying, oh, Miss Carbone, you're crazy. How can I check my work? I don't even know this is so crazy. So you can check your work by just finding 15% of our original amount, 24. So you can set up your proportion of X over 24 equals 15 over 100. You should then get an answer of X equals $3.60. And this is your discount amount. So 24 minus 360 is equal to $20.40. Uh-oh. Did we do it right? We sure did. That's one way to check it. Okay, problem number 3. After a 5% tax, Eric bought a sofa for $367.50. What was the price of the sofa before the tax? That tells you they want the original amount. Since we're talking about tax, that's an increase. So we're going to take our 100% and add our 5% tax to give us a total of 105%, and that's our percentage paid. If we paid $367.50, that's our dollars paid. And we can jump right to setting up our proportion. So we have dollars paid, which is $367.50, or our part, over our whole original, equals our percent paid over 100. Now I'm sure you guys can cross multiply. And you should get X equal to $350. So the price of the sofa before tax was $350. We're going to write a nice target statement. Okay guys, I'm going to challenge you. Pause the videos and try 4 and 5 and 6. Try 4, 5, and 6, and then come on back and the answers will be here. If you don't understand how we got there, just call a teacher over.